My name is Brídne Connell and I'm here with my colleague Garrett Smith and Sheila Coyle, and we're going to share our experiences of embedding anti-racism in our community development and youth work programme. So we're from Technological University Dublin in Ireland, and we're based on the Blanchardstown campus in Dublin 15. And the impact of increased migration on Irish society is very evident in Dublin 15. In the last census, 37% of the population there would have identified as non-white Irish. And this is reflective in our student population as well on the Blanchardstown campus. And we're a programme team of white staff now teaching in diverse classrooms. So our 4-year degree programme, it was endorsed by the All-Ireland endorsement body Community Work Education and Training in 2019. Now, racism in Ireland, it's a complex issue and it's not a new issue. It existed historically prior to the increased migration over the last 2 decades. And Ireland has been described as both the perpetrator and a survivor of racism. The Irish were the first British colony and they were racialised under British colonialism, but we also have a history of Irish racism. And the example of Irish travellers would be illustrative of this. So one of the consequences of the Black Lives Matter movement protests last year was the naming of racism as a global phenomenon, but also as a pervasive feature of Irish society. And it operates not just on an individual level, but also on institutional and structural levels. And racism takes many forms within Irish society, and some of the most prevalent forms would be anti-Black racism, anti-traveller racism, anti-Muslim racism, anti-Roma racism, and anti-migrant racism. So we're going to share with you a video, first of all, of our Lakela anti-racism journey.
During the academic year 2020-2021, a team of 6 lecturers from the Community Development and Youth Work programme at TU Dublin undertook a Lakela-funded project to embed anti-racism in our programme. We want to share with you our learning journey.
There were several reasons why we undertook this project. Both the Black Lives Matter movement and the heightened inequalities that COVID-19 perpetuated among ethnic minorities have highlighted the need for lecturers and students to deepen their understanding of the multifaceted phenomenon of racism. The values of human rights, equality and anti-discrimination underpin community work and youth work education and practice. Anti-racism work is part of this. We were also informed by the recommendations of a piece of research on developing an intercultural approach to youth work, which found that students had encountered racism on placement and felt ill-equipped to address it.
The overarching aim of our project is to embed anti-racism in the community development and youth work programme. Our objectives included to introduce changes to the community development and youth work programme content and delivery, to increase the racial literacy of our staff and develop their reflective practice with regard to anti-racism, and to support students to identify racism and empower them to respond to it.
Starting point was that this is a whole programme approach with staff and students working and learning together and co-creating the anti-racism approach together. We also wanted to develop a shared understanding of what racism is and the impact of racism. We wanted to reflect on our anti-racist approach to ensure that there is a clear overt message in the programme which states that we work from an anti-racist perspective and that we take action to support this.
During the 2021 academic year, we engaged in a range of activities to support the development of the knowledge, skills, competencies and resources required to identify and respond to racism. We wanted to create an inclusive and professional space for community development staff and students. And we did loads. We achieved tangible outcomes. We did anti-racism workshops for students and staff. We ran programme events over all 4 years. We had the AFRI Hedge School Human Rights Conference, an intercultural exchange with Langara College in Vancouver. Our students developed an anti-racism charter for community development and youth work. We made submissions on public policy, changes to modules, and many more changes planned. We engaged in proactive anti-racism.
The impact of all this work has gone well beyond the Community Development and Youth Work programme. As a partner on the project, the EDI Directorate have used the learnings and good practice examples to inform the development of a TU Dublin strategy for an intercultural university with the focus on race equity. Students from the programme have gone through the action plan, which forms part of that strategy in great detail and provided invaluable feedback.
This is a process and work is ongoing. A strategic planning workshop will be held to sustain the work going forward. EDI funding has been secured to develop and disseminate an anti-racism placement training resource, co-created with the Community Development and Youth Work students and our placement partners. While we have come a long way in our journey to date, there is still some distance to travel. However, we remain committed to our aim of embedding anti-racism in the Community Development and Youth Work programme and across TU Dublin.
Together against racism.
Perfect. So thanks, Garrett. So this slide provides a timeline of key activities carried out as part of the project, which were also highlighted in the video. So the project commenced in semester 1 by creating brave spaces for staff to have uncomfortable conversations around race and racism. So these brave spaces were created by staff partaking in an anti-racism workshop facilitated by the Irish Network Against Racism. This was followed up by a staff reflective practice session, which gave staff the opportunity to have discussions on recognising and responding to racism within a supportive learning environment. So the conversations were moved forward by taking action. For example, staff identified where racism is covered in the modules, with many staff then making changes to embed anti-racism more widely and explicitly in the programme. Then moving on to semester 2, brave spaces were also created for students to have discussions on race and racism and to develop their knowledge and competence to be able to identify and respond to racism. So it is invaluable for staff and students to have these discussions if we are to move forward or to move towards change. And as you can see from the timeline and from the video, there are many other activities, including the AFRI Hedge School Human Rights Conference. This was organised by third-year students with the support of their lecturer, Lee McGlynn. And racism was one of the key themes of the conference. You also see in the timeline the Anti-Racism Project Seminar that marked the International Day for Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So these are just 2 examples of students and staff working in partnership, co-creating outputs. And so Garrett, if you want to move on to the next slide. So some of the values that underpin the project. So I suppose firstly, inclusive and collective action. So it's very much a whole programme approach with students and staff learning from and co-creating together. The students' voice is central at all times. So students' insights informed actions of the projects, and students will continue to inform actions we take. And we collaborated with the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Directorate, and the project links to the TU Dublin Strategic Plan and the United Nations SDGs. And it really is vital to discuss racism when we're discussing sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals. And students and staff as agents of change. So really students and staff are promoting racism on the programme, but also outside the programme. So Garrett, the next slide.
So moving forward, key to the Community Development and Youth Work programme is to ensure the sustainability of the Lakela project within our program. And so the project team met with the program team and came up with 4 high-level strategic actions or goals, which are to create and continue to co-create an anti-racism training resource, initially with our fieldwork students who will be going out to do internships, and then with our staff, and we'll offer that out to our external organizational partners. The strategic goal 2 is to keep anti-racism on the community development and youth work program agenda in the eye of all our staff. The 3rd goal is embed anti-racism activities across the community development and youth work program. And finally, the dissemination of the Lakela project across the School of Humanities and beyond, and across the platforms that we have access to externally, such as the AIEB and the NSETS platform as well. So we have a planning day set out in September where we will sit down with the project team and we will flesh out some of these and tease out actions that will see the project sustained through the academic year 2021-2022. Thank you.